Hello and welcome to another episode of the Empire of the Cop podcast. 2 episodes in 2 days, you lucky people. With me here today, we have got the Empire of the Cop's very own Peter Kenny Jones, and we've got Rick Elliott producing behind the scenes. He'll also be popping in every now and then throughout this special Champions League draw episode. Pete, how are we feeling about this, the draw? And, I guess, who are you hoping to get?
It's a tough one, isn't it? I think, the old adage is you've got to beat the best to win it, but it doesn't help. I wouldn't mind avoiding some of the best for this step, but I do think that probably Man City are the one team that I would fear most in a final. So I'd either rather they get knocked out by someone else or we play them. So I think it's going to be an interesting draw. We're either going to be terrified or maybe excited, or we're going to be thinking, we should easily win this one and get through. Obviously we've got a mad fixture list and every game is massive, and obviously they bookend the Man City game in the league, which is huge. So it's tough to know what I want. Maybe say Benfica, but I wouldn't probably be that upset if we did get Man City. Yourself?
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. I think, ideally, you'd take Benfica if you were offered it, but then, you do look at, in recent seasons in the Champions League, you've looked at Liverpool and you've gone, well, nobody's going to want to draw. We look at City and we go, we'd rather avoid them in the final, but nobody's looking at that draw and thinking, we want Liverpool. That's the one name you'd argue everyone's hoping to avoid, perhaps alongside Bayern Munich. Rick, what are you feeling? Might go. We're having some further technical issues. Rick will be with us to share his thoughts shortly, hopefully. Back on to what we're talking about, who we're potentially getting in this draw. We were talking about this yesterday. I remember we were sort of discussing, because you could get sort of a nightmare situation, depending on how you look at it, where, you have City, the Etihad, the league's on the line, you get them in the Champions League in the next stage, then potentially in the FA Cup. If you get past Nottingham Forest, we're talking 3 games in a short space of time against Manchester City. Pete, I don't really know whether that's worse for us or worse for them.
Yeah, it's not great, but basically your season's decided a lot quicker than it would be otherwise, isn't it? So I think, as you say, no one's going to want to draw us, and it is City and Bayern are probably the best other 2 teams. Not saying, obviously, you go against Real Madrid and think we're going to batter them 7-0, but it's tough for a lot of the teams that we draw, but as you say, no one's going to want to get us. Maybe we just get City out the way, and imagine if you beat them in the FA Cup semi-final, you beat them in the Champions League quarter-final, beat them in the league, and then, you can't be on much more of a high for the rest of the season, can you? The old Gerrard, we can't let this slip speech will probably be coming out, because, if you've done that, you have to go on and win them all, because you've really only got yourself to blame then afterwards. So, yeah, it's a scary one, but it's just exciting as well. How many times can we be in this position, quarter-final Champions League, and not really fear anyone? That's not saying we're definitely going to win, but you're not looking at any team and thinking, we're going to get battered. That's how good we are at the moment. So, yeah, it's exciting, and just find out who we get. And if it is City in every cup and in the league, that'll be a mad few weeks for everyone.
No, I couldn't agree more, Pete. I couldn't agree more. I think it's the thought alone of thinking, we could get City in all 3 of these, and then we've got City in the league anyway. That's a given. But we could get City in the FA Cup, get City in the Champions League. The thought of that alone. But I reckon, if it just does that, if it just plays out that way, you get City in the semi-finals, you get City in the quarter-finals of the Champions League, and it's sorted. I think everyone will be fine with that anyway. I think we'll think, actually, now we're here. You back us. I think I'm of the mindset, if we do get them in all 3, I think the league, it benefits us in our race for the league, but I think it's probably more problematic for the Champions League. I'd personally rather get City in the semis, as you say, over 2 legs. I just think bring them back to Anfield. I think it's a completely different story after their sort of collapse against Chelsea in the final last year. But before we look ahead, I think it's important we look back, because I think we discussed this previously, but I just think not enough respect was given to our prior opponents in Inter Milan. Extremely tough opponents, gave us a really hard game across both legs, didn't they, Pete?
Yeah, well, you don't win any league without being a good team. You know, we faced the likes of like Red Bull Salzburg and teams like that in the past, and they're all good teams if you win a league in your country. And Italy aren't exactly a terrible league, are they? They might not be what they were, 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, but it's still a massive task to beat that team. We know how dominant Juve have been, and we know what a manager Antonio Conte is, and the way he had that team built, obviously, is no longer there. But they were a solid team, and it was neither games were easy, were they? I think too much was made of the fact that we lost 1-0 to Inter when it wasn't really a loss, and the fact that we knew that we had that 2-goal buffer. And I think if it was on a one-off game with 1-0 down, it would have been a totally different reaction to their goal. But they're a very good team, and probably shocked us a bit. Which again, I'm saying how confident I am of faced anyone. And again, not on the fact that I think we're going to batter everyone, but you don't get to the quarterfinal of the Champions League and being a bad side either. So it's going to be tough whoever we face, and thankfully we don't have to go to the San Siro again, although it's been a happy hunting ground. It's nice to have to go there and mix it up a bit. We normally get Porto in the knockout, so maybe it's destined for Benfica and another trip to Portugal for us. But yeah, let's go and face whoever we face and see what happens in the draw.
Be an interesting one for Luis Diaz as well, getting Benfica. We've got a comment here from Terry Amelia. It says he agrees with you, Pete. Wants to avoid Man City at this stage of the Champions League. I think we're all in agreement with you there. Much rather get them in the semis, but you'd absolutely back Liverpool, the form they're in, especially if we look to carry that momentum from the last international break and beyond the next one. Certainly very, very exciting times for Liverpool ahead. While we're on the topic of Benfica, just looking at sort of the last time we actually played against them in Europe, it was the Europa League, interestingly, in 2010, and it was a 4-1 win at home. Last time in the Champions League, it was a 3-0 defeat over 2 legs in 2006. Liverpool didn't.
That was after Istanbul when that's when we were.
Yeah,
so. Yeah, maybe we don't want them.
No, maybe not. Maybe not.
The best team to get. Yeah.
But then again, you've got the whole revenge narrative going on. You certainly argue that the squad as a whole is better. The squad we had back in 2006, even coming off the back of winning the Champions League and that historic moment for the club. I think not bit mixed late, but you take having another crack at Benfica. And I think Luis Diaz would be so up for that fixture. I'm going to throw a scenario at your way. The draw's just started, so we'll keep an eye on that quickly before anything comes through. Hypothetically, would you rather be inclined to get City in all three? The FA Cup, Champions League, we're facing them at the Etihad anyway, and then that sort of guarantees you going all the way through to the FA Cup, guarantees you the league, but you lose the Champions League. Or would you rather gamble on getting City in the semi-final and final, or the final, and having a crack at all four?
My brother was saying you can imagine how tense it would be. Imagine if we picked them on the last day, we need a win or win by more goals. And then we know we've got them in the FA Cup final and the Champions League. You can that shock a bunch of whoever does win the league and maybe faces each other later on, if it's the semis or the final. If it does get to a final where we face them FA Cup or Champions League, you can imagine how emotionally charged it's going to be, because you can't lose all 3 to the same team. You can just imagine how bad that's going to be. It can literally be the same as you could be in the other foot. We could lose the league by a point or goal difference and face them in the FA Cup and Champions League final. On a selfish point of view, we want to win all 4, and so will they. Well, they want to win all 3. But, you can imagine just that week, we're talking about playing them in the quarterfinals and playing in the league, nothing's decided then. Imagine if you come off the end of the season and you've got an FA Cup final and a Champions League final as the same team. The pressure is going to be absolutely huge. And if you win all 3 and all 4 in our instance, then, as we were saying yesterday, we might as well just retire, because Man City, I don't think we'll ever be able to look at us again if we do all 4, and the same the other way around. It's going to be massive. So I think maybe that's the best soap opera line, isn't it? But I don't think my heart could take having all or nothing games 3 in a row, all with Man City or us coming out on top. I think maybe a good draw would be in this round, buy and get City and maybe get the winners of that in the semi. And then, you've beaten probably the best team that's left in there, and off we go. Then we'd back ourselves in the final. But I don't know, I don't know what the best case scenario would be. I don't. Yeah, maybe after Benfica. I don't know who would you be fancying if we're saying Benfica are the best. Have we got an order of the top 8?
Yeah, I mean,
or 7.
If you're going on order, you go, well, the next objectively weakest outfit, you'd say Villarreal, really, isn't it? But you're then saying, well, our Villarreal, if we get Benfica, are Villarreal going to survive against Atletico, Bayern, City, Chelsea, Real Madrid? I mean, obviously it's an knockout competition; anything can happen. But you're looking at that order, but realistically thinking, if you get Benfica, you're going to get one of the other big boys in the semi-final. The odds are very much heading in that direction. In that case, I don't know. There's a part of me that would like to see us test our mettle against Bayern Munich at this stage. I don't know if that's suicidal or not, but then I don't know. I think you look at this Liverpool side, I mean, I was going to bring up injuries, but obviously we've had that hamstring injury to Trent Alexander-Arnold, so he's going to be missing the Nottingham Forest game, and the England internationals, which is, I mean, given the injury record during England international games, I think it's probably to our advantage in it to have him not available during that period. But yeah, no, I think there's a part of me that would like to get Bayern. I just think. Yeah, I think I potentially view them in a similar sort of way to how you're sort of seeing City. I think I'd rather them over 2 legs. If you know what I mean? Like, I don't think I'd like to get them in the final.
Yeah, well, I think as you said there, the 2 teams, aren't it? I think to have a chance, both the Madrid clubs as well. We've got stories with both of them. So maybe Atletico we're going to be tough over 2 legs. Real Madrid, we owe them a bit of revenge. It's interesting wherever we get, isn't it? There's a story to all of them. It's that there's 2 easier ones, 2 hard ones, and 2 with a bit of a story behind them in Madrid. So it's going to be an interesting one no matter what happens.
Absolutely. Ricky, put your hand up there.
I think my audio is working now. Hopefully it's working. I just to sort of go over things. I mean, to be fair, what we've said, Benfica are the obvious choice that we would like, but I would love to see us play Real Madrid again. I think there's definitely, like Pete was saying, there's some bad blood after that Champions League the final a few years back, and then there's also during the lockdown, it just that wasn't the way it should have gone. Really, it just felt like that whole season of like behind closed doors and everything. Ugh, yeah. Champion. I'd love to see us play Real Madrid. Benfica, obviously, the obvious choice. But yeah, I'm just looking to the teams now. I mean, they're all, you don't get to this stage of the Champions League and not be a good team. Let's face it. There's no, there's no Forest Green Rovers at this point of the ladder. I mean, you know what I mean. So it's. Yeah, I'm interested to see where things go. But I mean, looking at the intro video that they've just shown, so many memories, so many great moments we've had.
It's interesting you mention Real Madrid, because you do look at that being, I don't know, like almost a lost fixture in the sense of you look at that game completely differently if you've got fans in the stadium. It was such a ripe opportunity there for the taking, because obviously they were playing at the De Alfredo Stadium. At the time, you look at that result, I just, 3-1 away, with fans at Anfield, you'd think, oh yeah, we can get 3 goals. I mean, we proved it against Barcelona at the time. No one beyond the borders of Merseyside was backing Liverpool. After that's it, done and dusted, Barca are through. And I don't know, it completely changes the narrative around the game at that point. But,
I mean, I would have said that, even people on Merseyside were saying that Barca are through. Because that was such a sort of.
But there was more belief, though, wasn't there?
There was more belief, but it was such a monumental task. And I don't think, even today, I don't think some people really understand. They get swept up in the meme of it all. They don't understand just how much of an accomplishment that was, especially when Salah was out, Mane was out. We were playing with a second string team essentially, and we still managed to overcome this such a great feat. It's and there's reasons why people are like, oh yeah, that's like Istanbul, on the same level of Istanbul. I mean, it's
Yeah, well, having it at Anfield as well, isn't it? That's what the difference was. Doing it in front of your own fans as well. It just makes it hit even more, especially when it's a final. It's half and half, isn't it? But to have that at our ground. I was just touching on Madrid as well. I think obviously there's been that weird link. It was Real beat us in 2018. We win the Champions League in 2019 in Madrid. Atletico knock us out in 2020. Real knock us out, the next 2021. So we do seem to have a weird relationship with Madrid in the Champions League of late. So maybe it is best to avoid them because we seem to lose to them or winning their ground.
And with Salah, contracts and all this kind of stuff, and Real Madrid are one of those teams that's been linked, obviously. Now, I know that there's a lot more in it than just progression in Champions League, but if you can beat Real Madrid, you can stamp yourself and say, look, Liverpool is the team to be at. Liverpool is the team to beat. Liverpool is the club that's on its on the precipice of European football right now. Why would you want to go to anywhere else? And it's a great advertisement for any players that we're trying to sign to say, come over to Liverpool. I mean, it's just, Real Madrid in recent years maybe haven't had the financial backing that they used to have. But even then, they're still sort of thrown about in these kind of conversations. And it's just and it's purely because they get so far in the Champions League, all these kind of competitions. It's just, it's to be able to say nah, disregard them. We are the better club. That's what you really want.
I mean, there's 2 points I'd like to touch on there because you made a couple of brilliant ones between the pair of you. But firstly, the Barcelona win. I feel like you look back at the miracle of Istanbul, and it's very much about it's about more about Liverpool than City. AC Milan's collapse. And rightly so. But then as you've rightly pointed out with the Barcelona, it's been more about Barcelona's collapse in the game rather than the magnitude of that victory, the magnitude of that comeback, without key players being in the first 11. So yeah, I'd absolutely agree. It doesn't get near half the respect that performance deserves outside of the Liverpool fan base. Touching on Madrid, of course, I mean, we dealt our own sort of revenge on Atletico, obviously in the group stage, but then there is still that sense of unfinished business, isn't there, against Madrid? Obviously we won the Champions League the year after Kiev in Madrid, at the Wanda Metropolitano. But I don't know about you guys, but I still feel that that we could do with humbling Real Madrid this time if we get them, of course, on the route through.
Yeah. Well, the only shame is that there's no Sergio Ramos there, isn't there? But yeah, it looks like the draw starting there, doesn't it? So, and we're definitely not going to get a good one because Michael Silvestri's picking the balls out. So
your stream is much quicker than mine. I'm just going to throw that out there. Yeah. So
okay, I'm on it. He's unscrewing it. My head.
Oh, here we go. He's pulled one out.
Oh, name. He's doing it. First one out. Chelsea.
And the first Chelsea Football Club.
Oh, yes, get it.
just quickly there, we've got a comment from our very own Steve Carson, now a friend of the show, sadly, but he's made a request. He wants the dinosaur egg out, Pete. Where is it? Where's the dinosaur egg? There it is.
If we get a good draw, I'll bring it back out. Yes, he's unscrewing the next one.
Lovely bit of free marketing. Oh, he's on it.
Oh, there we go.
Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? That is the question.
Oh, Real Madrid.
Oh. Real Madrid.
Chelsea, right? We'll take that one. Happy to avoid both of them, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And one of them's out.
Absolutely. Okay, quickly, who do we reckon is going to get through? On 2 legs.
Chelsea
hard one, isn't it?
Real at home second. So what it did to PSG, I'd probably say Real. I think, although they won it Chelsea won it last year.
I'd agree with you there, to be honest. I'd agree with you there.
It looks like they're doing the semi-final and final draw. Obviously, I don't know all the teams, but we'll know who we're going to get in the semis next, I think, if I'm right. They've got the 3 pots out there, haven't they?
Terry's just commented again. He said, I'd be happy withdrawing Chelsea.
Here's the next one. Sorry.
And it is Manchester City.
As well for us with the second leg at home if we come out next. Oh,
tense God, this, isn't it? Oh, tense this.
Oh, I hate this bit. Oh, having a little chat. There we go. United player drawing City.
He's having a little rummage around the balls. There we go. Oh, he's got one. I'll tell you what, he's got this. The others seem to struggle with the unscrewing bit. Yeah, but he's got some strong grip. Oh, who's it?
Atletico Madrid.
Atletico Madrid.
But we've avoided Real, City, Chelsea, Atletico.
I mean, to be honest, it's looking pretty good so far, isn't it? You know, I think the two out of those, you know, I think
what's left, us, Bayern, Villarreal and Benfica, so we avoid Bayern with a decent draw.
I'll tell you what, that tie is going to absolutely do Pep's head, isn't it? It's going to absolutely do him in.
Oh, here we go. Here's the next one.
Here we go.
Oh, God. My heart's pounding.
Oh, this is tense, this, isn't it?
That's it. Villarreal,
okay.
And this would be second leg at Anfield that will come out next. Yeah. I went in confident to take anyone, but I'm desperate for Villarreal and they want to get
Villarreal, Bayern and Benfica. Oh, it's tense here. Mikhail's having a feel around.
Screw. Oh, God.
Oh, go on, lad. There's it.
Bayern Munich. Oh, we've got Benfica.
That means we get Benfica.
We'll take that. Just hopefully second leg at Anfield. That's what I want. So hopefully Benfica, the next one's out. But you can't really have so much fun on that, can you? I mean, obviously, Chelsea and City getting bad draws. Bayern, probably the only worry because they're pretty much definitely through to the semis, aren't they? But
I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? You're looking at those. All of those, you're dropping out.
Here we go.
Some big sides.
First. Love Benfica now as the perfect draw. Benfica, get in. Anfield, second leg. That's what we like. Oh, that's good, that as well. Obviously, either side of the City game, having Benfica and they've got to play against Atletico, you know, you'd hope that we can either get the game short in the first leg or not as well there, wouldn't you?
My stream is so far behind.
And there's Liverpool. The draw isn't a fix. Yeah, Rick's just found out it's the quarter-final.
We'll find out later today that it's actually going to do a redraw and we've actually got City.
Oh, God, don't even. Do not.
There's no computers on this one, is there? Well, there we are, yeah. So, do you want to do the recap?
There's still computers involved. They can still, because it's the computer that's basically saying, draw this one, draw that one, I think.
Yeah, well, they're doing the semi-finals now, aren't they? So we'll see who we play. I don't know who you want there, innit? Because they're all hard. There's a good team on every side of it, isn't there? There's no...
Liverpool have just popped up on my screen. That's how slow this stream is.
Just to recap, if you are just joining us now on the Empire of the Cup podcast, Atletico Madrid have drawn Manchester City. Real Madrid have got Chelsea. Bayern Munich have been given Villarreal, and Liverpool face 2 legs against Benfica. Could that have gone better?
I think maybe Bayern getting one of the other teams would have been good. But it depends if we get in the semis here. If we get the City and Bayern side and the other, I want to play one, but I don't really know how this one works.
He's pulled a name out.
Quarter-final 2. I don't know which one that one is. You got them written down in order?
I need to just
He's gone to Atletico Madrid, so I think this is the winners of City and Atletico play the winners of, and we're number 4. So hopefully not 4. Otherwise, we've got a tough semi. Number 1. Who's first now? Chelsea Real. Oh, so it's Chelsea Real versus City or Atletico in the semi-final. Yeah. Well, which
means
we can avoid City all the way up to the final.
Does mean, of course, that Liverpool or Benfica then get Bayern or Villarreal. Yeah. So,
I think that's the optimal way we could have that's the perfect way this whole thing could have gone.
Yeah, because you can't have got an easy. Yeah, we're at home first in the semi-final.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, you'd rather get Bayern over to. I mean, this is the question: Would you rather get City in the final and Bayern in the semis, or would you rather get City in the semis and Bayern in the final?
Other way around.
The other way around.
I'd rather have Bayern in a one-off game. But they're definitely not easy, are they? Oh, it's all tense. I'd much rather we've had the second leg in the semi and in the quarters. But it is what it is. Hopefully, we can blow Bayern out the water. Is what it'd look like if you're going to assume. But obviously, bigger shock than that have happened before, haven't they? So we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's good that it's going to be Man City, Atletico, Chelsea, Real Madrid. We only have to play one of them in the Champions League this season if we get to the final. So it's not bad. Obviously, we've already played Atletico, but it's not, as you say, it couldn't have gone much better, really, with only two poor teams in there to get one and then get the winner of the other in the semi-final.
Absolutely. Terry's just commented. He said, well, hey, best draw we could have had. Hard to disagree with that, Terry. Hard to disagree with that.
Terry's pretty much the third member of the group at this point.
I know, really.
I'll count. Matt has failed me at this point.
You've overlooked yourself as the producer.
I mean, yeah.
We're out first in the final draw, whatever that means. So that means we're playing in red, I'm guessing.
We'll be playing in red. That's the.
I think that's the only thing we can take from that, isn't it? We walk out on the left rather than the right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose.
Do we, as I can't remember, is it when the referee does the coin toss? Does he ask the home team first, or is it just whoever's? I think it's like subtle differences like that where
in the final,
it's not. Yeah.
We should attack your fan second after in the final.
Interestingly, it does mean if we get to the final in Paris, we will be the home team.
Yeah.
Final taking place on Saturday, the 28th of May. Very exciting.
We're in red's the big one. I think we've won it in nothing but red, have we? So,
I mean, it's a positive omen, isn't it?
Yeah, not jumping ahead at all. The quarter-final draw, what colour kit we're wearing in the final, but yeah, that's what the draw's there for. And you definitely take that. I think, as you said, a lot of the discussion was on Benfica. You've already used all the last time we played them stats. But
we've used the stats have been well informed, but I may as well cover Bayern and Villarreal. Why not, for the sake of it? Bayern, our recent records are pretty good. Actually, we met them in the round of 16 when we won the Champions League in 2018-19. It was a 0-0 draw at Anfield. We beat them away 3-1. Not a bad aggregate result. Villarreal, of course, most recently it was a 2016 win in the Europa League, 3-1 on aggregate. So some positive history there. Obviously, you'd argue the Bayern of today are a far more compact, stronger outfit than the one we faced when we won the Champions League. But, Liverpool hardly look worse either. If anything, we've improved.
I think I might have just found a good omen, but I don't want to jump in too far. Give me a sec. I'm just checking my stats. Yeah, I think I am right. So we played them 78 when we won the European Cup, 84 when we won the European Cup, Benfica as well. So that's a good omen. 2 of the last 4 times we played them, we've gone on to win it.
Absolutely love to see it.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Looking very good.
78 and 84. Yeah. And then obviously we lost in 2006 and beat them in 2010. But I think the gap was a lot closer than I think last time we played them on it 12 years ago.
I mean, it's shaping up to be a cracking potential. Obviously, all due respect to Benfica, they will be tough opponents. They certainly would have made it this far without being tough opponents. But I mean, if you're just joining us here at the Empire of the Cop podcast, we have, of course, drawn Benfica. Bayern Munich have Villarreal. Real Madrid, have Chelsea. Atletico Madrid have Manchester City. The winners of Liverpool against Benfica face Bayern or Villarreal. And that means, of course, that the winners of either Atletico Madrid or City face either Madrid or Real Madrid or Chelsea. Wow, that was a mouthful. Not a bad one. Not it's all the Madrids that get me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not. Well, I think you pointed out, Pete, haven't you? I think you might argue it would have been better placed Bayern getting one of the likes of City or Atletico. But then if we were sat there, then we'd argue, do we really want Atletico or City? I think Atletico is the right problem team for City. I think
I was worried about them as well. What they can do to obviously in the group stage game you need the points in the knockout. You don't, do you? You can take it all the way to pens. It doesn't really matter. And I think Simeone will be fully aware of that, and he'll definitely do that against Man City. I think United did show that maybe they're not the best team, and we know City a lot better than United. So you probably would still expect them to go through. But it's not as easy as it seems on paper as the Benfica one. And I'm just looking at the Portuguese league here, that they're 12 points behind Porto, who we've comfortably beat home and away, really, didn't we? So I think it really couldn't have gone much better. I think the main bad news is that the semi-final first legs at Anfield, I think you don't want to be going to the Allianz knowing you need the performance. Obviously, we did it the year we won it in that kit. But and we obviously went and did well then, but it'd be nice to have that second leg at Anfield and then be able to have, what we had against Barca when all the fans are and celebrating going to the final. But
I'd argue that, ideally you want to be, I don't want to be going to the Allianz and needing a win, but in this current format where the away goals rule is gone, that's a thing of the past. It's, or at least for now, having the first leg at Anfield, you can try and build up a heavy lead if possible. Use the crowd. Like, the crowd will definitely be up for it if it's a semi-final, and then just go for it. I mean, at that point, it's just a case of Liverpool aren't known to sit back, park the bus, but you know what I mean? Like, just play conservatively. Don't make silly mistakes. Especially if you know that a Champions League final is on the line, everyone is going to be absolutely wired. So, yeah, I think at this point, with the away goals rule a thing of the past, I'm not too worried about where we playing first, where we playing second. But yeah, just I think we go to Forest at the weekend, we get that sorted. We're getting closer and closer to being first in the Premier League. The quad's still on, lads. The quad is still on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was saying yesterday, you want to doubt us to believers, and I think if you want to draw to believe, you can do it. I think obviously it's impossible to avoid all the good teams, isn't it? You maybe have had Bayern on the other side of the draw, but if you want a favourable draw that we got, then you can't really ask for much more in the hopes of possibly being a season where we can win 4 trophies, which wouldn't be bad, would it? And we were saying yesterday, if you do that, and it's the Super Cup, the World Cup, Charity Shield, going to be could be a season to remember forever.
We'll just be
adding these words,
adding all the numbers to the champions wall.
Yeah,
absolutely would be a season to remember. You'd argue one of the all-time great seasons.
I think can't beat that, can you? Surely, it's got to be the best.
You've got to consider the quality of the opposition we're facing. If you pit City to the title, you're talking about one of the greatest Premier League sides, one of the greatest sides in the English top flight, full stop. So you do that, you win the Champions League. It'd be, absolutely, incredible. Klopp's legacy at the club is cemented as it stands for what he's achieved here. But you add the quadruple on top of that, it's absolutely insane.
If you, the thing is, if we did beat City to the title, the beauty of it is that no one can go, oh, there's an asterisk. We can it doesn't count because COVID or anything.
COVID, like that.
Yeah. It's a pure season that you can throw VAR at it, but then City's last year was doesn't count. Then if that's the case, if you're going to do stupid stuff like that, but at the end of the day, we've done it in a fair, even environment, and the only thing that the City could probably come back at us and say is, oh well, we didn't have a striker. Well, that's on you for trying to get Harry Kane over the line and failing miserably. You should have had a backup idea. Like someone like Luis Diaz or someone like that.
I just don't buy the idea that we can. Yeah, well, I don't buy the idea that they're weakened anyway. Sorry to interrupt, but do you know what I mean? I think Klopp said this in the conference. Look at the amount of clear-cut chances they get in the box. Look at their goal return this season. We're not talking about a shit City side here. We're talking about a very cultured, a very technically brilliant Manchester City side. This is not. This is not a poor title race, but any means of the imagination.
I'm not saying that it is a poor title race. All I'm saying is I'm just trying to think of the only excuses that people could come back at us and say, oh, well, this one doesn't count because.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And there are none. That is the thing. The closest you can get is, well, City didn't have a striker, and that's on them. That's their fault.
No, absolutely. I agree. That's the thing. I think that will be the excuse used if we do pip into the title. And I just think it's an absolute nonsense excuse. You know, looking at like, I think we're at 3 goals ahead of them in the goal difference. I think they have a better goals conceded rate, but obviously I think our goal difference is superior overall. But going back to the Champions League draw, I mean, Pete, you talked about sort of, you reckon City will just go through. You could see Madrid then going through with it, then sets up that semi-final. Who do you think gets to the final out of those two?
I think it's, on paper, City should win it or get to the final, shouldn't they? And we know that it's the same with what PSG had. It's a mental thing with them, isn't it? It's the mental thing that we probably had in the Premier League years gone by. Obviously, we've kind of ticked that box. I think there is still a mental thing in the fact that the players will want to win it in front of the fans. But that's the only thing that will stop City is City. They're so, this means so much to the fans and Pep. So this is going to be everything for them. And again, this should help us in the league because you can't rest against Atletico home or away. You can't rest against Chelsea or Real Madrid in the semi-final home or away. They're going to have to go full strength. We've just said they haven't got a striker. We know how good their squad depth is, but those forward players are going to be playing a lot of very important games. Hopefully, against Benfica, we should be able to hold them out. Klopp's definitely not going to go weakened, but they wouldn't have to be going full tilt. He said how hard the final was against Chelsea. It's not just playing your best team; it's whether they're playing at 120%. It proper takes it out here. So hopefully we can keep a bit back, maybe if we got to keep a bit of freshness in our legs, beat City, go and blow Benfica away, and then you don't know what City are going to have to do. They're either going to smash the Champions League, but it's going to cost them in the Premier League, or they're going to get bruised, and then you see how they bounce back in the league against that. So I think, if it was the other way around, we'd be saying City got a much better draw than us. So they'll be saying it about what we've done. And I think Klopp said in the Carabao Cup that we haven't had this luck in draws, and it does feel like this season's kind of felt quite our way. You can never say you've beaten a team before you played them, but Nottingham Forest in the quarterfinal and Benfica in the quarterfinal, the FA Cup and the Champions League, you'd bitten your hands off anyone at the start of the season to take them, wouldn't you? So hopefully this is a turning in the tide and City get a few tough draws and we see what they're made of in cup competitions. And yeah, why not? This seems like the season we could maybe not finally, but could win all 4. And yeah, that's not bad, is it?
Oh, Rick?
Just throwing it out there, Terry in the comments has mentioned that there'll be probably be no away fans for Chelsea, apart from the small group of season ticket holders. That's a great, I mean, like they are also one of the strongest sides in the tournament, and to have no away fans or home fans, if basically, like I said, just season ticket holders, that's gonna be absolutely, like, they're really going to struggle, I reckon, based on that.
I mean, we've seen what happened on our end, didn't we? When we both didn't have the fans. I mean, I just want to circle back to the title race, because obviously with looking at sort of Trent Alexander-Arnold's injury, looks like it's going to be a few weeks. We play City April 10th at the Etihad in one of the most pivotal games of our season. Our quadruple hopes potentially resting on that game. How do we feel about the injury? I mean, we've seen this before with the medical department. Players tend to come back a bit quicker. And you look at the likes of Joel Matip, Naby Keita, they've managed their prior injury concerns superbly. Hypothetically, if we don't have Trent, it seems an obvious point to make, but just how much of a hammer blow is that?
Well, it's a worry, but I know James Milner played in the home game. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Was that, did he play right back then, or was that? Well, am I wrong?
I think it was. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And we drew 1-1 then, and obviously we don't want to draw, we want to win. But I wouldn't be terrified at the fact James Milner's playing right back in Champions League quarterfinal against Benfica or against City. Obviously, ideal world, you have Trent in, and I think Klopp said, hasn't he, today? It's you can put Joe Gomez, you can put Milner, you can put a kid in. But Trent's so unique in what he does. He actually is irreplaceable in terms of what he does going forward. I think, Joe Gomez has been an option that if you need to hold the lead, you bring him on. He's solid at right back. He's maybe not attacking wise good, and we know James Milner can put a cross in from anywhere. So I think in them two, you've got an option to mix it up and see what happens, and maybe keep them guessing. I don't think it's. Trent's really, really good and irreplaceable, but I don't think that the options, we've got a huge drop below in terms of being able to keep solid at the back, and you've just trust Mo Salah to try and do something on the right wing isn't a bad position to be in either. Sorry, when we know what Hendo can do when he links up with him as well. So I think obviously the quicker he comes back, the better, but we'd much rather have him the last few games of the season, semi-finals, finals, than pushing himself and making his injury worse just to make it for that City game. No, hopefully he's back soon though.
There's definitely scope for a Joe Gomez comeback story, like, grand, the great comeback that similar to sort of how Nat Phillips just sort of became this cult hero. I mean, we already know Gomez is capable of, we're talking different levels here, but even still, like the fact that he hasn't really got a sniff this season, just sort of, he was linked to moving to Aston Villa at one point and stuff like that. He's most people are calling him disposable. We can get rid of him. There's definitely
mental, isn't it?
Yeah, there's definitely scope for him to come into this Champions League tie and be like, blow everyone away. Where has this guy been for the last how many months? Why have we not had him in the side? And that's only because Matip's been so injury free and also incredible doing what Matip does and also getting forward, which is a new dynamic to his game. So it's when you've got that to deal with. Klopp's got a lot of difficult choices during the season, and just having these opportunities just come in, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Gomez can do. Really excited.
Absolutely, no, absolutely. I mean, look. Matip's just been so brilliant to the extent that he's kept Ibu Konate out, who's been superb across the season. I mean, if you were offering me a 1-0 win at the Etihad and Big Joe Gomez nods one in from a corner, I would. I mean, that's a comeback story I could absolutely get behind. For now, of course, Liverpool have drawn Benfica in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. The winner of that tie will face either Bayern Munich or Villarreal. We've had Peter Skelly-Jones on with us today. We've had Rick Elliott producing and contributing behind the scenes and on the scenes. I've been your host, Farrell Keeling, and we have been the Empire of the Cop podcast. Thanks for listening. Take care.